Compact sedans were all the rage when they hit the market a few years ago, but lately their popularity has been waning just a little bit, thanks in part to the advent of compact SUVs and premium hatchbacks. Then there's the fact that compact sedans are associated with taxi services like Uber and Ola, and that's not great for their image, is it? Now, for some car makers, this might be a cause for concern, but when your compact sedan is consistently one of the 3 best-selling cars in all of India, you needn't worry at all, right? And that's precisely why Maruti has poured in so much effort and so much investment into this, the brand new 3rd generation Dzire. Being one of the first sub-4 meter sedans, the previous Dzire had some teething problems, a major one being the design. The boot wasn't well integrated and the proportions were all wrong. This time they've done a much better job. For the first time, it's been launched before the Swift hatchback it's based on. And they've worked so hard to differentiate it, they've even dropped the Swift name. It's now just called the Dzire. It resembles the new Swift at the front but gets an all-new bumper with loads of chrome in the grille and a bit lower down too. It looks altogether smoother and rounder, and that continues on the sides where there are soft curves on the fenders. These top-spec cars get two-tone 15-inch alloy wheels that look really classy. Most of all though, at the back, the boot is much better integrated and the roof flows a lot better. Also at the back, you'll notice that it's a whole lot wider than the old car, by 40 millimeters in fact, and that translates to a lot more room on the inside. The cabin is a mix of new and familiar bits. The dash uses a nice layered look with black on top, beige at the bottom, and splitting the two, a strip of faux wood, which also really split opinions. Some found it felt quite premium, others found it a bit tacky and passé. The materials are a bit inconsistent too. The leather-wrapped flat-bottom steering, also with a wood insert, feels really nice, and the touchscreen is well integrated with its black and brushed silver frame. But elsewhere, you'll find hard plastics and many switches have been carried over from the old car. Still, it does get the basics right, with good visibility from the driver's seat and decently comfortable front seats. And to put those to the test, it's about time we set off for a drive. The Dzire gets the same petrol and diesel engines as before, and both can be had with a manual or an AMT automatic. Let's start with the diesel auto. It's a familiar driving experience. The engine is, as before, the 1.3-litre Fiat-sourced multi-jet engine with 75 horsepower and about 190 Newton-meters of torque. And yes, that is plenty to hustle this light sedan along. Yes, the Dzire's new platform makes it about 60 to 65 kilos lighter than the old car, and that makes performance brisk, with a solid punch coming in just before 2000 RPM. It's not the most refined car in the class, but then it's not the loudest either. The gearbox, well, it's an AMT, and as such it comes with the traditional AMT shortcomings. That means as long as you're driving it smoothly, it's just fine. But the moment you push it a little bit too hard, it starts to give you a bit of head nod as it shifts gears, and there's an interruption in the power delivery. But for most users in the city, it will be absolutely fine. As long as you don't kick down too hard on the accelerator pedal, it responds very smoothly and shifts just seamlessly. They are much smoother than the AMTs of old, and the only real issue you'll face is doing a hill start, where the car will roll back if you're not careful. It's also nice to finally see an AMT gear lever that doesn't look cheap. You do have the option to shift manually via this lever, but there's no sport mode. We also spent some time in the petrol Dzire, but this time with a manual gearbox. And as with other cars that use this engine and gearbox combo, it felt quite special. So now I'm driving what is, for me at least, the pick of the Dzire range. It is the 1.2 litre petrol engine with the manual gearbox. And it is the pick of the range for me because, well, it is quite a lot of fun to drive. It's very peppy at low revs and it likes to rev out as well. So whether you're driving in the city, in traffic, or whether you're just caning it down an open highway, it's still a lot of fun irrespective. It's pretty refined too, except when you extend it fully, at which point it does sound a little bit boomy, but for the most part I think you'll be quite happy with how smooth and silent this motor is. The 5-speed manual gearbox too. The shift action is short and really slick, and the clutch and the gear shift are both very light. So again, it's no problem in traffic, and it's also a lot of fun when you're going faster. We only got a brief chance to drive the remaining two variants, the diesel manual and the petrol AMT, but we can tell you that they are quite similar in character to their counterparts with different gearboxes. What's common to all Dzires, however, are very light and easy handling characteristics. And I'm going to hop back into the blue car to tell you all about it. Now, the steering is a great improvement compared to other recent Marutis, but it's still quite a way from being perfect. For one, there is quite a lot of slack at the straight ahead position, and if you're cornering it really hard, you will find that there isn't quite enough feedback from the front wheels. Still, in the city, it is very light and easy to twirl, and that will get you through traffic very easily. Now, while steering feel may not be the greatest, Maruti has at least delivered in other fronts when it comes to dynamics, and that's because the new chassis really works quite well. Body control is impressively contained, so if you can forgive the steering, you will still have a pretty decent time in the new Dzire around corners. So that's what it feels like from the driver's seat, but the back seat is what really needed attention in the last car. So let's see what that's like in the new Dzire. Now, the real pleasant surprise in the new Dzire is that there is a whole lot more legroom in the back seat. As you can see here, I've got plenty of room between my knees and the front seat, and headroom isn't too bad either. The slight disappointment is that the seat itself, though comfortable, is lacking a little bit in thigh support, but then buyers in this segment shouldn't have too much of a problem with that. Also, to make your journey a little bit more comfortable, there is an armrest with cup holders, and Maruti has even managed to squeeze in a pair of rear AC vents. Now, ride quality is really quite good in the new Dzire with its new chassis. Yes, you can feel a bit of underlying firmness, especially on a rough road like this where you do get tossed about just a little bit, but it's not too bad, and out on the highway, the firmness will stand you in good stead because body movements are kept really nicely in check. As has become the norm with Maruti these days, equipment on top spec cars is really good. There are automatic projector headlamps with LED running lamps, auto climate control, a rear view camera and rear parking sensors. The SmartPlay touchscreen gets navigation, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and crucially, all variants of the Dzire come with 2 airbags, ABS and ISOFIX child seat mounts. The flip side is that prices for the higher variants are now at the upper end of the segment. Now, the previous Dzire may have been hugely popular and successful, but objectively speaking, there's no doubt that it made quite a few compromises in order to meet that sub 4 meter length restriction. I'm happy to report that this new car makes far fewer compromises in that respect. For one, it looks a whole lot better and like a proper sedan this time around. There's a lot more space on the inside, and there's even a much bigger boot. Then, of course, as with all new cars, it's more premium on the inside, there's more equipment, it's nicer to drive, it's more efficient, and Maruti has paid a lot of attention to safety this time around. The downside might be that some higher variants of the Dzire are a little on the pricey side, but then the range is so wide that there really is a Dzire for just about everyone. So, brief as this drive may have been, What I can tell you is that this car is improved in every single way over its predecessor, and as such, Maruti once again has an absolute cracker on its hands.